Hello friends, I welcome you all to this session on uh, power plant engineering. So as you have already learned about the Rankine cycle, so it is a correct time to solve some of the numerical problems based on Rankine cycle so that the understanding can become more. Now, if you want to solve Rankine cycle, then you should have properties of pure substances table with you. That means steam table with you, where you must be having a saturation table, a superheat table, and so on. So what I do here is I will teach you one very elegant way of using Excel to perform your properties of pure substances calculations, or indeed Rankine cycle, solving Rankine cycle. So how that can be done? Friends, there is a website called as Excel in Math, ME, that is Excel in Mechanical Engineering. So if you go to this website, I'll give you the link in the description of this video. So you can go to manual installation and directly you can download this XLAM file. Once you download it, you include that in your Excel workspace. And how to include it, I will also give one link there so that you can include it. Once you include this, what will happen? All the properties of pure substances, if the evaluation is valid, will come at your dispense. There are few things which you should learn here. For saturation properties, that means saturated vapor properties or saturated liquid property. If I say liquid and vapor, then for liquid you should write L. For example, if you want the specific volume of liquid, that means you should be writing VL. And as you are talking about liquid, then you are having two options. Either you can go by temperature or by pressure. So for pressure you can write T. If you want to go for temperature, you should be writing T. And then H2O, that means for water. And then inside you will be passing that temperature. So that is how you can evaluate the liquid properties, specific volume, entropy, enthalpy, whatsoever you want to evaluate. And for vapors, what you can do is, let's say specific volume, then for vapor you have to write V, and then with respect to what temperature, if you want to evaluate with respect to temperature, then T. If you want to evaluate with respect to pressure, then P. If you want to evaluate with any any other values with respect to any of the properties, you can do it. But the thing is, it should be VV, HV for enthalpy, SV for entropy, and so on. Okay. Now this is for two phase, because in two phases only one independent property will be there. Because if you see the Gibbs phase rule, it says that F plus P is C plus 2. So for liquids, or for not liquids, I must say, for two phase substances, that means liquid vapor mixture, let's say, then P will be 2 phases will be there, and composition will always be one, that is H2O. So that will return you F is equal to 1. So only one property will be independent. Whereas in case of steam, so superheated steam, this is the case, you should have two properties to represent a particular state. Why? Because for single phase P becomes 1, composition will be 1, so F will be 2. So two properties will be required to specify the state of a substance. Okay, so let us start with the saturation state first. So let's say I am interested in finding out the saturation pressure. How to find out saturation states? Simply, if you want to let's say pressure, then you will be saying P sat. If you want to want temperature, then you will be saying T sat, and so on. So P, then SAT, saturation. Now with respect to what you want, it is with respect to temperature. So you simply say T. Then pass this temperature and simply press enter. That's it. For every temperature you are having that saturation pressure. Now specific volume with respect to specific volume of saturated liquid, so VL with respect to what? Temperature. Now you have this. So for water, you pass the temperature, that's it. Now you have the specific volume. Likewise, specific volume for vapor, saturated vapor, it is VV. With respect to temperature, you simply pass the temperature and that's it. The same thing for saturated liquid enthalpy. So it is H, as it is liquid, so it is L. So with respect to temperature I want, so underscore T. So this is the hint. Then you pass the temperature and you have it. Likewise, saturated enthalpy of saturated vapor. So this with respect to temperature for H2O, then you pass the temperature and that's it. This is what with respect to vapor. Okay, and entropy with respect to what? Entropy saturation, specific entropy of saturated liquid with respect to temperature for water. So this is the one. So these functions you can use. And then specific entropy of saturated vapor when temperature is given to you for this temperature, that's it. So you can drag this down, that's it. So you can get the steam table properties or properties of water at different temperatures and pressure instantaneously in Excel. It is so easy. And when it comes to superheated, if this is the pressure, let's say this is 150 bar. Basically I have written it in kilopascal because this particular system by default is set at kilopascal. Okay, so you will be starting with saturation temperature. Okay, so this is 342, and now I want specific volume, enthalpy and entropy for this pressure for the different temperatures. Then I'll simply saying specific volume with respect to pressure and temperature. For water, you select pressure, as this is going to be constant, so make it fixed. Then this temperature, okay, that's it. So you will be getting specific volume. One more is left. The same thing you can do for enthalpy with respect to pressure and temperature for water. So this is pressure, you fixed it, and then comma, then this temperature, and then that is how your enthalpy varies. Then comes entropy. So entropy with respect to pressure and temperature for water. This is the pressure, fixed it, and this is the temperature, and you drag it down, you will be getting for all temperatures. So friends, in this way, what we can do is we can evaluate different parameters in the Excel itself. And now it must be clear to you that how to use this particular steam table properties, or use that add-in using different functions there in add-in for evaluation of properties. Okay, so in this lecture, till this point only, in the next lecture, I'll show you that how to model a Rankine cycle in using Excel. Thank you very much for watching it.